big fella. You're a good boy, but you get into this messy mess sometimes. Hey everybody, TMW here once again. Thank you for joining me. It's a very lovely day after the 4th of July. I hope you all had a lovely holiday if you celebrated the holiday. I'm out here with my boy Atticus. He's my old boy, but he's a good boy. When I talk about Wink trolling the dogs, well, this is one of the poor victims of that, but he's a good fellow, and I'm out here brushing him out because he has gotten into some sticker burrs and he has all his loose fur. So it's a non-stop cleaning situation with him, but you're probably saying, well, hang on though, Thomas, why are you outside in the lovely outdoors with your dog instead of inside showing us new books? Well, everyone, it's because this was a dead mail week. I literally got nothing at all. It's very rare that that happens. I guess blame the holiday for it, but you know, that's fine. It's actually kind of nice to have a bit of a week off from dealing with all that mail and all the packages and everything like that. So, but here's what I'm going to do instead, as promised, on the anniversary video. And if you haven't watched the anniversary video, by the way, what's the matter with you? Go watch that. I am going to list the 10 books that I chose in my retro review pick. Remember that? So drew the S tile out of the Scrabble bag. And so I'm doing 10 retro novels, 10 older titles on the website only, not here on the YouTube. But I will do an announcement video. And so I have chosen those books, and I have taken some of your suggestions into account. So without further ado, here is that list. So the first item on the list, I'm not necessarily going to read these in this order, by the way, but the first item here is Lord Valentine's Castle, a popular and enduring classic by Robert Silverberg. Also, yes, Hyperion by Dan Simmons, at long last coming to sfreviews.net. Guys, I've been made fun of for years and years and years for not yet having added that one to the site, but it's going up. So at last, you'll get to read my review of that. Next comes a book by Norman Spinrad from the mid-'80s called Child of Fortune. Spinrad was a pretty big name in the 70s and 80s, known for extremely provocative themes. He's not really that well known anymore. In fact, I think most of his writing right now includes criticism in the magazines. But you know, gonna check out one of his older books and see if it's worthy of rediscovery. Next, based on reader suggestion, is a book by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky, the well-known Russian writers. This is their book, Hard to Be a God. And I chose this one because it has just been made into a movie in Russia. Very strange looking, apparently it's like this very spacey, 3-hour black and white, trippy epic. And so I'm going to do the book, and I'm dying to see the movie. The next is Vacuum Flowers, another well-known 80s novel by Michael Swanwick. Sort of coming in the cyberpunk wave there. And now moving into my attempt to be as egalitarian as I could with this list. I wanted to have 5 books by men, 5 by women. I ended up 6 and 4, but I did my best there, just going through my old books, seeing what I could find. Door into Ocean is a very popular book by Joan Slonczewski, I think very clearly her most well-known book. Next comes what was an influential fantasy novel in its day. It's not really that well known anymore, but this is The Swordswoman by Jessica Amanda Salmonson. You know, features a very courageous, sort of almost young adult protagonist, I guess, although it wasn't marketed as a young adult at the time, but I think if it were coming out today, it would be. Next are a couple of space operas by some well-known women who are practitioners of the form. Hostile Takeover by Susan Schwartz. That's a book from about 10 years ago. It's probably the most recent on this list. And a book from the 80s by Melissa Scott called Mighty Good Road. And finally, I have an epic fantasy, well-known book by Matthew Stover called Heroes Die, which is the first book in his Kane series. And there we have it. Those are the 10 titles. I'm going to try to get to them, you know, in reasonably good fashion. I think it'll take some weeks to get through all of them. But I do want to get through all of them, mainly because I want to start digging other letters out of that Scrabble bag and looking at more old authors and more old books. But in any event, there will be new mail next week, so watch out for that. We'll be back to normal, opening packages and seeing what upcoming books the publicists have sent me. So otherwise, I want to thank you all for joining me once again. Thank you for the ongoing channel support. It's been lovely to just see my subs growing and growing. So as always, if you like watching and if you have other SFF reading friends, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It makes this dog very happy. Actually, this dog probably doesn't really care because he's a dog and he doesn't know what YouTube is or anything like that. But anyway, he's a good boy, as you can tell. Thank you as always, and I will see you next time. And until I do, happy reading.